Hello and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Val.
You know, like I would feel bad that we started like in the middle of your bite, but I said, we're going to record now. We're going to get started. And you took a bite.
Whole intro. There was the whole intro.
Yeah, it was like toward the end of the intro too that I think you took a bite.
But we're here at this place with amazing food.
We are.
Let's tell our friends about it.
All right. We are at Maria's Mexican in Taylorsville, Utah, and it is delicious.
Really, really good food.
Yeah, this is one of my new favorite places.
Mm-hmm.
And I got, it's kind of messy right now, but I got this taco salad, which is amazing. They have chips and salsa. I just shoved sopapilla in my mouth. You guys both got chimichangas, which I had never tried here before.
Chimichangas were really good.
Dave usually gets the smothered burrito, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I've got combination platters. They've got mole.
Yeah, they do have mole.
Ooh.
I got the chili verde chimichanga, and I did it smothered and with cheese because it was an option. So
if they make the options available, they've done it for a reason.
I feel like that's the whole reason it's there, so that I can have it with cheese and smothered. So if it looks like we're not looking at you in the camera, folks, it's because we're not. We're all sitting around the table live, but we wanted you to see our faces. So every once in a while I might look over, give you one of these, and then I'm going to look back over here. Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
We're silly.
It's been a while since we've recorded live.
Yes.
It's been like 7 or so months because it was last summer. Last time
you
that
mean
we
together?
Together,
In
one spot.
physical location.
Sorry,
we never
live.
record live anymore.
That's true. Well, we'll have to do more of that.
Yeah.
Listen, we have big plans, folks.
And he's not lying. For once, we actually do.
And part of those plans is to go live
More often.
Yes.
And to
Which
maybe have
the
you
bar's low
guys
because it's
in
just
the
more
room
often.
with us when we go live.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Well, depends on who it is.
You want me to vet them for you?
We're not
We
going to
probably
name names
ought
on
to.
here.
Well, depends on what they do. We might name them.
All right.
No, we won't name names. Colin knows who he is.
It's like bringing
just
somebody
kidding.
out into the public square,
Yeah.
just shaming
Flogging them
right there
publicly.
in front of everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. We won't do that.
I feel kind of bad because you guys both have like really cool geeky shirts, and I mean, like I'm representing my Utes. But,
Yeah, you like there are Utes nerds out there.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's true, but
I
got
like
a nice
my shirt.
Mando
Yeah,
shirt.
I've got a Mandalorian
Val's
shirt.
Rocking the Spider-Man.
I'm really enjoying season 3 of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus right now.
Hey,
It's the book of the Mandalorian.
if you guys want to talk about that, you can go over to Multiplane Podcast where we just did an episode and we are going to finish. There's a new episode coming out Thursday of this week, and we're going to talk about the last 2
Wednesday.
episodes. Basically, it's just me letting Ty
Run wild.
run wild. This is the thing, and it was totally right, is that like I know a lot about movies that I can get into and like the making of movies and how things happen. He deep dives into the Easter eggs of Star Wars, things that I don't know, because he has seen all the animated shows. He has read the comics. He's read the books. He's seen the movies. So like he can see something like teeny tiny off in the distance.
And he's like,
and he
oh
knows
my
exactly
gosh.
what that's from. So it's so fun to learn things from this child.
Yeah. This child.
He's 12.
So
He's excited that Goosebumps is going to be a series.
What? He was convinced that the devil was going to show up in WandaVision. Mephisto, thank you.
He still thinks Mephisto is showing up at some
out
point.
there. Okay.
He is stuck on the Mephisto.
maybe it's Mephisto. Is that right? I don't.
Yeah,
remember.
I think it is.
Can we maybe drop a bomb? Can we tease something about Marvel? Can we tease something about Marvel?
Well, so this will be coming out in like the 3rd week of February. So I think we can probably drop a bomb.
Okay, so years ago, I started a company called MarvelNewsOnline.com. Then I forgot about said company.
You have to realize Val buys companies like other people like collect things.
Well, this is the thing. I started this company with our good friend Larry Curtis.
Yes.
Oh, hey, Larry. He
And
might be making an appearance
Larry-
here next week.
I
yes,
was gonna
Larry
say.
will be here. We love Larry, and we did a ton of stuff. We had a staff, we had a website, we did all these things, and it was before Marvel exploded. Like it
Mhm.
was when we still had the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it was early
On
on.
Netflix.
And then my life exploded.
Mhm.
And so I kind of stopped doing a lot of things, and I logged into my Facebook page for Marvel News Online about a month ago, and it has like 2,500 new likes. I've done nothing. And then I thought to myself, why am I doing nothing?
Why am I not?
We all love Marvel.
taking advantage-
You
advantage
love
of this?
Marvel. So we are going to expand into the Marvel universe, and we're gonna be doing Marvel News Online podcasts, stories,
Yeah.
blogs. We're gonna let Tracy do some writing. We let him out of the.
That's dangerous.
I just want to point out, we've never not let Tracy do writing.
I
It's
just-
not like
We-
we've ever
we don't-
said,
We don't encourage it, but
But you haven't exactly banned me from doing it.
Tracy writes the description of each of our episodes every
does.
week. And we
He
do
does.
encourage
this
that.
is the thing about Tracy. He's a really good writer, and so we're almost going to be demanding that he writes now. I was trying to be nice about it.
It's true. He even lives with someone who can even like edit it for
Uh-huh.
him if
This
needed.
is true.
Yeah,
This is true.
Better than we could.
Oh yeah.
So
I shouldn't
Anytime I have
edit
any
anything.
editing questions, yeah.
never, except for music and movies, but never any words.
so I do want to put this in context as we were talking about the book of the Mandalorian Fett.
Mhm.
This we're recording this like the first weekend in February. This will come
Yes.
out after the series has
It did.
ended, or at least the first season of the series. And so we don't know what's going to happen, but we've just had chapter 5 and chapter 6 where it was very Mando centric. I saw a TikTok the other day because I look at TikTok like a 14-year-old girl, and I look at it like a 14-year-old girl. And there was a TikTok where it was, the question was, who do you want to see make an appearance in the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett? Like thinking like cameo appearances. And then the joke was the next picture was Boba Fett because he really hasn't been in the last 2 episodes.
Maybe 25 seconds.
Yeah, he was
the last
very
2
shortly in
episodes. Yeah.
chapter 6. I'm not even going to put a spoiler warning on there because I know when this episode of ours is coming out. And by then, people who are waiting for it, all of the episodes to come out will have even seen it. So,
Yes, absolutely.
but so that's where we are on that. I need to go back and watch the multiplane episode that you did this morning
Yes.
about the Book of Boba Fett.
It's always fun watching Ty geek
I
out.
like to see Ty go.
Mhm.
go
And Val
crazy
Well, and I
and
always
stuff.
Val
learn
just like
something.
sits back
Yeah.
and like munches popcorn.
Well, because there's characters that are coming into the Star Wars universe, the cinematic universe in these series that have been only in the animated universe.
Right.
And so basically what he brought up is that there are no rules now. They're going to pull from comics. They're going to pull from the animated series. If they bring in these 2 big characters that are from the animated series into the live action, that means we can do whatever we want. And Star Wars has been doing whatever they want for a while now, but I think it gets like the bigger nerds even more excited about
Yeah.
seeing some of those people from Rebels and Clone Wars, at live action.
It is exciting, and I enjoy it. It does it. One of the things that I really like about Lord of the Rings, yes, but also Star Wars. What I really like about Star Wars is that you feel like you're part of this bigger world, and there's a lot more going on besides just the story that you're seeing. And we're diving more into that with the more mainstream stuff, like the Boba Fett series. Before it was like you really have to do a deep dive and like be into it to get the comic references or the Clone Wars references, and I feel like that's bringing it more into the mainstream, and I like that. I like the bigger picture, the iceberg that's under the surface.
Yeah.
That goes along with Star Wars. Also, Lord of the Rings, that can apply for Lord of the Rings too. So
Whatever
it's
makes you
fine.
feel better.
What are you doing, Val?
Nothing,
Like she's
leave me
looking
alone.
at me as she's like reaching under her computer. So she's fixing something, but it was just this weird look for a second. I
Why
don't
do you
know.
gotta call me out?
Because I'm just not used to it.
Usually I'm doing this by myself
Yeah.
in my room.
we
and you don't
can't
know.
see what you're
I'm
doing.
not even wearing pants most of the time, but we're in public now, and I
I
have
know.
to wear pants.
Had to wear pants.
Yeah, we're not popping anything out while we're in public.
Okay, so we're sitting in a booth. And I said, Jake, do you mind if I pop out real quick and use the restroom? And he said, not a problem. Just make sure you wait till you're in the restroom before you pop it out.
Yeah.
So
Jake doesn't say stuff like that, so it's funny when he does.
I do.
Out of
Yeah.
all three of us, he is the good boy,
it's
Yeah.
true.
I don't
He's
know
the
what to say to
bestest.
that.
and I
The
should never
bestest
run
boy.
In
any
film
HR
terms, he's the
anywhere.
best. He's the best boy.
Yeah. All right. I don't know where to go with any of this. Tracy
That's an important
complimented my
job. That's an important job on a film set.
to be the best boy.
Yes,
Okay. What does he do?
he works with the
Or
with
she.
the gaffer.
Yeah,
Can a
I
best
think-
boy be
I
a
think
woman
it
now?
should probably be changed to best person.
Yeah.
It's a person.
I'm just
that-
kidding. I don't care. This is history.
I don't care what the
don't-
title is as long
Yeah.
as they allow women or men to do
They
it.
do.
I don't, okay.
They do.
Yeah, then
He,
I don't
she, or
care.
they, as long
Yep.
as you know.
Yeah.
they
As long
do
as you
the
can do
job.
the job.
I mean, that's the job title. It's the job title.
Exactly.
Gaffer is one of my favorite titles on a
Mhm.
film set because I think it's such a great, like, and I always think of Samwise when I think of the gaffer because he talks about anyway. But I like the name Gaffer. I think that's cool. So I wouldn't mind being the one that assists the
I'll
gaffer.
get you a shirt that says I'm a gaffer.
All right. But then people are gonna like
They're
expect.
gonna expect
We
you
go
to do
places
things.
where people
Yeah.
would expect that I actually am a
They're
gaffer.
going to be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Whoa.
where's the tape? Can you wrap this cord for me?
Yeah,
Do you have an extra
when we
thingamabob?
do
and I'll
need
be like, "Is that what a
cables.
gaffer does?"
When
And
we
then
need-
they're
when
gonna
we
know.
need cables and stuff, we turn to Jake.
Yeah,
Okay,
you just need gaffer
We-
tape.
I'm gonna post
I could-
this, and
My
so hopefully,
favorite
Swing my-
kind of tape is gaff tape, by the way.
Yes.
If you've never used gaff tape, you need
Yeah,
to go
we'll-
get
we'll
some
do.
because it's awesome.
here I'm gonna post this picture to our social media that I'm taking right now, so you guys can see my cord management skills.
Yeah, not good. These should all be like wound up, and they should be color coordinated with tape.
They don't need to be color coordinated with tape. Look, they're color
Yeah, I
coordinated
know.
on the
I'm
thing.
just kidding.
Yeah,
But they should be.
I
Like,
bought those on
they should be
purpose to make
short.
my life easier.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right.
Nobody's gonna come in and shut us down.
Well, that's true. I'm so excited that we're here doing all of this with all of my equipment because I
Absolutely.
bought all of this over the last year
and
or
a
so.
half.
For when, because last year I had so many hopes about everything was going to be, we're going to be back together doing stuff
We're
all
going to
the
be back to
time,
normal.
and then we didn't, and then Omicron hit, and now I feel like this is
it's
good.
just
It's a step
it's
forward.
I
calming
feel like
down.
I'm a superhero because I have all 3 vaxes and I've had Omicron.
Oh wow, you're like
So-
super invulnerable now.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. Like
I should be able to punch
I've
people
had
in the
all 3,
face.
but I'm not. I have not been, as far as I know, infected with the COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna have it.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
The good news,
It's
Okay.
like the flu. It's a part of our lives now.
you know, we don't sit here and give you medical advice, but but I do believe that if you've been vaccinated, you've had your booster, if you do get Omicron, chances are it'll be fairly mild. So everybody that said it's just like a bad cold or whatever in the beginning, now it actually is if you've
Mhm.
taken the steps to protect yourself. And I think that that's a great thing. So I do think it's going to be around for a while, and we're going to have to get shots every year, but like your flu shot, but it'll be fine.
I do think it's funny though that you're like, we shouldn't give you medical advice because I'm currently, maybe by now, maybe by the time you watch this, I'll be employed again. I'm currently unemployed.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I keep getting emails to apply for like a surgeon or like medical
Wow.
professionals. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, I could do the catch me if you can thing and
Yeah.
see if I can get in there. But it's just funny because I open up like, who signed me up for these emails?
Maybe we
What
should start doing
algorithm
medical advice
was
then.
it?
Apparently someone thinks you're
Someone
qualified.
thinks I should be doing open heart surgery or like at least plastic surgery.
It'll be like Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in Spies Like Us.
Yeah.
Doctor.
Doctor,
Yeah.
Doctor.
doctor,
Doctor.
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 And really, when you're facing a decision in life and you think this will be like Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in Spies Like Us,
Go
it
for it.
might be, yeah, go for it
Go
is
for it.
exactly what I was
Embrace
going to say.
that.
Yeah,
Embrace that opportunity. Run with it. Yeah.
nothing has ever gone wrong.
No.
So we're
Good
gonna get
words.
you a shirt that says gaffer. We'll get me a shirt that says I'm not a doctor.
Okay, I like it. Now we have to figure out a shirt for Tracy.
It'll happen. It'll come
We'll
naturally.
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah, we don't want to force it. The
Yeah.
other two haven't
Nope.
been forced.
Nope.
So,
We don't want to force it. We don't want to pull it out.
yeah, no popping it out, no
Pop it out.
forcing
Popping it
it.
out, no forcing it.
Yeah.
Is that the name of this podcast? No popping out,
Pop
no
it out
forcing it.
episode.
Oh,
We'd get some downloads. We'd get some hits off
so
of
now
that.
we're going to talk about the family classic Zathura.
That was one of your better segues.
Oh my gosh! Stop
Tracy,
pointing them
stop.
out, Tracy.
Just because
Why?
it was such a bad segue, I had to.
Oh, so
So-
now I know that when you say it, you think it's a bad segue.
No, I will
no,
tell
I
you
got
what-
it.
So this is the thing. I absolutely love this movie.
Mhm.
It's one that my daughter loves. And then I went back and rewatched it, and I'm like, Kristen Stewart's in this movie?
Yeah.
What the crap?
Well, and Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. I knew he was in it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know, I forgot Kristen Stewart was in
I
it.
knew she was in it.
'Cause you
I
guys know
forgot Tim
she's
Robbins.
She's not my favorite,
Right.
but this is probably my favorite
It's
movie
her
that
best.
she's in. It's,
Yeah.
Well, and it's her best performance because she spends half of it frozen in ice, not moving.
Yeah. So kind of like Twilight.
It's very
but
similar.
Better.
I do have to say though, I read a thing where because they made a statue of her for the Frozen part.
That
And
wasn't really her.
That wasn't really her.
They didn't
Oh.
make her be frozen.
No.
Or fall down the
But-
stairs head
but I-
first.
But she said that like after the movie came out, some guys were like asking what happened to that prop and if they could buy it, and it freaked her out.
Gross.
Understandably
It freaks
so.
me out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rah.
that's gross.
But this
So-
is Jon Favreau.
Yeah,
which
Jon
We are
Favreau.
huge fans of Favreau.
If you don't know Zathura, it's basically Jumanji in
There's your
space.
shirt.
Yep.
Fans of Favreau.
Fans of Favreau. Yep.
That should be a podcast.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Fans
Nobody
of
take it.
Favreau.
I've already bought the rights.
Yeah, she's already bought it.
Doing it
Like
By the
right
right
now,
time
she's
you
doing
hear
it
this
right now.
episode, it's
We
locked
already
up.
own it.
Um,
Fans
It's
of
locked
Favreau.
up.
Yeah, so it's based on the children's book Zathura
Chris
that
Van
came out in
Allsburg.
2002.
Mhm.
Same author of Jumanji, so it
Mhm.
is very similar. You do get a lot of the Jumanji vibes with it. The big difference here is in Jumanji they got Robin Williams, who came out of nowhere. In this, they get
Dax Shepard.
Which
And
I
I-
don't mind.
He's
really?
okay in this
Yeah, he's
role.
fine. He's good.
I'm not a big Dax Shepard fan overall, but
I like Dax Shepard as a person.
Yes.
I don't necessarily love
he's
the
not a great
acting
actor.
work that he's done,
Mhm.
but him in this fits so well.
Yes.
Yeah, he does
yes.
a great job. And he's good. But I'm just saying it does feel like a little bit of a letdown when in one you get Robin Williams and in this one you get Dax Shepard.
Wait, we get Tim Robbins.
That's true.
Yeah, which I had forgotten.
I
he
don't
was
agree
in.
with his politics, but I think he's a great actor.
Great
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah. And he's good in this as a single dad.
Mhm.
I think one of the most unrealistic things about it is that he's gone through a divorce and has this amazing house.
Well, this was back in the early
Listen,
2000s
Jake,
when you
Okay.
could still
For
afford a
men,
house.
that happens.
Does it? Okay.
Well, and like I said, this was before the housing went nuts. And
Yeah.
although it is out, it seems like it's set in California. They don't ever say it, but I always get the.
Well,
feeling
I always
this
assume
is
when you see a
Also,
craftsman
Kelly
house like
Clarkson's
that,
husband
it's
got
Yeah.
a really good house in their divorce settlements.
yeah,
It
like
happens.
I do-
Northern California type of.
yeah. I definitely get California vibes from the house. I do love there is a line concerning the house thing where the kids are like, "We like mom's house better," and he's like, "Yeah, so did she. That's why she ended up with it."
Mhm.
So
It happens.
Yeah.
And we also get Frank Oz.
This is true.
Frank
Yeah.
Oz is always a win.
I mean, he's a robot, but we still get him.
Yes.
I'll take him any way we can get him.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to talk about one time his movie, The Heist, with Robert De Niro and Edward
The
Norton, and
It's
Yeah.
one of the only times I like Edward Norton.
there you go. I don't mind Norton.
That's a bold statement. Really?
Yeah, I don't mind him.
Okay.
I
I,
think
mean,
he's
he's
good in
fine.
He's a
certain roles.
brat.
Yeah.
I don't know that I
On a
would ever
personal
want to
level?
work with him.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's a
that's
brat.
very true. But as
From
far as
I
everything
think
that I've
he's the
heard.
most Kylo
Acting.
Ren human person.
The good news for me is I don't think there's ever going to be a situation where I would be working with Ed Norton. But
Don't say that.
Never
I'm gonna
say
make some
never.
calls.
She
gonna
knows
talk to Steven.
I'm gonna talk to Favreau. What are you talking about?
Favreau is our new favorite. Yeah,
we are
absolutely.
going to have to talk about Tom Holland's new film Uncharted.
Yes, I get to see that next week.
So
We have to talk about it.
Yes.
Tom
Okay.
Holland.
We'll probably
We're
talk
fans.
about it on What
We-
to See with Val. We
Tom
won't do
Holland
that
has
here.
touched
We can
you.
talk. We can do it wherever we want.
He's
But
touched you.
Not in a weird way.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think how.
we took a photo together.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
was I right next to him?
I think he came by and touched everybody on the shoulder or something.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
So we got the magic Tom Holland
yeah.
touch
A
on
little
the shoulder.
on the shoulder there.
The blessing
Yeah.
from Tom.
And then, sorry, this is a throw, but I am super psyched for the Batman.
I am too. The more I see of it, the more
They
excited I
released
get.
2 sections of the music. They released the theme music for and the theme music for the Riddler. Not what you expect.
I'm interested in it because they're marketing it on screen as a very like edgy kind of Batman, which is fine. I have no problem with Batman being edgy. But then you walk down the toy aisle and they have like Lego sets of
Yeah.
it and like action figures. So I'm not sure
Mhm.
how edgy it really is going to be, and I'm nervous
I'm
about
talking
that.
I bet
about-
you it's going to be pretty edgy.
It's
Really?
still
The-
always going to have merchandise, no matter how
Yeah.
Well,
edgy
sure,
it is.
sure, but like I don't think you saw
Director-
like Dark Knight Lego sets.
Yeah,
You did.
you
Were
did.
there?
They were there.
There was
Okay.
Dark Knight everything.
All right.
Yeah. But like
I take it back.
the
Listen.
director
Take
said
back
it's,
what you said
it's
about Thor.
basically it's basically a horror film is what the director said.
Well, that's great because I love horror films. That's my favorite genre for sure. So
Well, you're dealing with a serial killer, and
there is nothing in the Batman mythos that doesn't lend itself to a horror
this
genre
is
Right.
film.
absolutely
Well, that's
true.
what I think I've learned so much over the past couple of years is that horror doesn't mean slasher.
Yeah,
Right.
And I used to think like if you said it was a horror
Gore.
film, I was like, I don't wanna.
Just buckets
and
of blood
then-
and body pieces.
And now like I've lent myself to liking more
Mhm.
of
yeah,
horror films.
yeah. I
and
mean,
you've always got Moana as a backup to cleanse the palate,
Yeah.
so that helps.
I think Batman, the character, in any other storyline, would be like the monster.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Mhm.
and but in this he's the protagonist and the hero, and I think that makes his character interesting.
Mhm.
So, so Zathura, which is neither a horror film nor dark. Well, I mean,
Or
it's in
a
space.
superhero film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at one point they do have to turn all the
It's
lights
a little
off.
dark.
Yeah.
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 The thing that I loved about this movie, and I used to actually occasionally show this in my film class when I was
Yeah.
teaching, is because usually when you shoot a movie, you're completely shooting out of order, out of sequence.
Mhm.
And in this film, where the house goes into space and all these crazy things happen to it, they filmed the beginning and the end at the start, and then they had to do the rest of the film sequentially because the damage that happens to the house early on has to continue to be that way throughout the whole film. So they actually then had to shoot it sequentially.
Oh, that's smart.
And I love the fact that Jon Favreau came in as the director. He was not the first choice. The other director dropped out, and he came in and said, "We're doing all of this practical, or as much as possible, we're doing this practical effects." So they did like little firecrackers in the floor when the meteor shower
Mhm.
hits. They cut out the little holes, and then they had the little firecracker underneath, so they'd get the explosion, they'd get the smoke, they'd get the little puff of fire. And I love stuff like that instead
Yeah.
of just CGI, which at the time they were transitioning towards the movies were, but it was still a fairly new process. So he was like, you know what, we're doing it old school.
Well, and I think the lizard men, the Zorgons, were
Mhm.
also practical effects.
They
and,
were puppeted.
and here's the thing: I think the stuff that we do with CGI is amazing,
Mhm.
and it gets better every year and every time a new big movie comes out that they do a lot of CGI in. But the puppets just hit different,
Yes.
I think.
Mhm.
And so I like that. I think it's easier to interact with them. I think it's easier to get kind of reactions and things
Mhm.
like that. So
Mhm.
I thought, however, they were not like overly like terrifying
Oh
or
no.
Yeah.
realistic, but it
Mhm.
was still good. I
Yeah.
felt like they were
I
well
kind of
done.
really loved that that especially during this time where we weren't as a society really thinking about like equal kind of storytelling.
Right.
We had a story about kids doing something with their dad in a divorced situation
Mhm.
because usually especially past movies, you know, the dad is kind of the villain
Yes.
when you're in a divorce situation, and I know a lot of dads that are not the villain in their divorce situation.
Right.
And so, and a lot of times where it just is, and
Yep.
there is no villain. We're just,
Right.
they've decided, you know what I mean?
And
so,
they don't villainize the mom either.
yeah, it's just, we're at dad's house today and dad is doing stuff with, you know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
really liked how that, it was just a family hanging out, but nobody was in a bad light about
Right.
the parenting. I
Mhm.
really liked
He makes
that.
the quip about your mom liked the house, but that's
Right.
That's
really it. It's not
yeah.
like that awful woman that I need to send you to or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like it
Right.
seems very amicable
And it's
healthy.
true because when I think of other movies that feature divorced parents leading up to this, you know, like the Mrs. Doubtfires, where he is
Mhm.
constantly saying negative stuff about his ex-wife.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Or it's
Um,
always like absentee father,
Mhm.
Or
you're
like-
not here, deadbeat dad.
Yeah,
Liar
exactly.
Liar is another one where,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, part of his transformation is realizing
He's
he
the
needs to spend
scumbag
more
that-
time with his son, but before ever.
Yeah.
Right.
The Santa Claus also.
Mm.
Yeah.
Tim Allen is not a good
That's
dad
true.
until
Yeah.
he becomes Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So I grew up
There's
in the
a
90s
message in
thinking
there.
if you were divorced, you either had to be cursed so you couldn't tell lies, or become Santa Claus, or dress up like an old woman to be a good dad.
The 90s was a good decade.
It was a great
It's an
decade.
There was a
Appreciated
costume
decade.
involved, no matter what.
Well, absolutely. A costume and some kind of weight gain, except for Liar Liar. So, but no, Tim Robbins, he's a good dad in this, and you can, he's playing catch. But what I also really liked the kids because they portrayed them in a way that a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old would be.
Oh yeah, especially when they interact with each other.
I have a 10-year-old daughter who is constantly telling us how everything is not fair. Anything that we get for one of the other kids, even though we've done like 3 other things for her, it's completely not fair.
Have you told her that life's not fair?
We have tried. She's not having any of it. She doesn't.
If you didn't know, here's a little PSA for the day. Life's not fair.
Yeah.
Whoever tells you that it's fair is lying to you, and you should punch them in the face. I'm just kidding. Don't do any violence.
Yeah, we don't promote violence.
No,
on
we don't
show.
promote violence. Life isn't fair.
But the 6-year-old too, it's true. It's good advice. And the 6-year-old too, going around and every time he does something wrong, it's I'm sorry. I've got a 5, almost 6-year-old who does the same thing every time. We're like, hey, did you do this? It was an accident. I'm sorry.
As he's
Yeah.
It was an accident. I didn't mean to.
Like he will be like, you need to go put your shoes on so we can go. And then like 10 minutes later, hey, how come you haven't put your shoes on? I accidentally forgot.
I'm stealing that. I like that.
Hey,
Not just I forgot. I accidentally forgot.
Oh wait, I already filed them.
Oh no, I'm not filing those until April.
I file mine the day I get them. I get so excited
Really?
about filing my taxes.
Wow.
We normally do, but this year we are paying, so we are not excited.
I've had to pay.
Yeah.
I have paid.
I-
And I have kept paying.
To the FBI agents listening.
No, like that. You know who you are. You know how much I've paid.
Ooh. I got that reference. Okay. All right.
But I still enjoy filing them.
Did it get a little chilly in here?
I should start wearing a tie for moments like that. Yeah. So, but I do like the interaction with the kids because I think that's a big brother, little brother kind of interaction. And even the teenage daughter. I mean,
He's like, "Do you want to play catch? No. You want to play Mario? No." And then when his brother's watching SpongeBob and he just turns on sports, it's like that is such an older brother move.
Yeah.
That is such an...
Hey, I was watching that. Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
you were.
Not. That happens. My 15-year-old the other day, like my 5-year-old was playing Xbox, and my 15-year-old came in and was like, "All right, it's my turn." Why? Because I'm here now and I wasn't before. Is basically the logic.
If anybody turns off my SpongeBob, we're gonna have words.
Yeah, I never got into SpongeBob, but I didn't. I think
it was a
after
little
my
bit.
time.
Yeah, I think it was.
And I don't
little
have
bit.
kids, so
Because I think it started probably about the time. I mean, you would have been
in-
finishing high school or close to it.
college. Yeah.
I mean, I started watching it with Sammy.
Yeah.
See,
And then
that-
she stopped
And it's
watching
been
it,
around
and I
for a
kept
really long
watching it.
time.
Mhm.
Like I know it's still really popular, but it's not a new. I mean, it's
No,
been
it's
20
been
plus
around
years.
a
that it's
long
been around.
time. Yeah.
So that's okay that you're not into SpongeBob.
Okay. All right.
That's fine.
I mean,
Well,
Don't shame me.
well, as long as you're not like gonna.
I'm not gonna rip on it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's. I think we're pretty good about like
I
if we're not
get
into
the
something,
feeling
we
like
don't
if I
typically
sat
rip on
down
it.
and watched it, I'd enjoy it, but I just never did.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely what I like about it is it's definitely like it feels very lowbrow, but it's actually a lot smarter than it
That's
feels.
what I've
Super
heard.
smart.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of songs you can sing along to because I know how much you love to sing along.
Yeah.
Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza made for you and me. Krusty Krab pizza. Sorry.
This is quickly becoming one of those episodes where we have a movie and we talk about a
It's
lot
not
of
as-
other things.
It's not as bad as the Karate Kid episode.
No, or the Back to the Future episode, which has not aired.
You still haven't put the Back to the Future episode out?
I
Is this
have.
going to be another one of those episodes that got lost?
I actually have found the lost episode,
What?
but it will never see the light of day. It will remain lost.
Oh, it's got to be vaulted and
Yeah.
then like buried
Yeah.
and then.
I think what we need to do is when the show becomes big, we need to auction it off
What do
for
you mean, when?
charity.
When she said when, if is when you
No,
would say.
no,
What
no,
do you
no.
mean if?
Is
Oh, you think we're already
we're
big?
good. Like we're doing well. Thank you all for
Oh
tuning
my
in.
precious little butterfly Tracy. mean, we like our fans and we feel good about where we're at, but I don't know that I'd say.
I think we could do better.
You gotta believe it to self-actualize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I said when we get big.
Yeah.
All right.
But he feels like
Well,
we're big now.
I'm just saying.
We will. I mean, I feel big.
Well, we just had
Glad I wore the
sopapillas.
stretchy
We
pants.
did have some delicious
Oh,
sopapillas. here at
Maria's Mexican food, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, good stuff.
Here's the thing. It does not have great reviews on Yelp, star-wise.
Really?
So we need people to come here
Oh man.
and eat here
Blow this
and
place
give it
up.
good reviews
Yeah,
because
every time I've posted about it, people are like, "Well, I haven't heard good things about it." I'm like, I always post good things
Oh.
about it.
yeah.
This is the thing. It's not Beto's. You're not going to go in
Oh, yeah.
and pay
Mhm.
$5 or $6 for this much food.
No.
You're going to pay a little bit more, but
But the
you're also not
quality-
going to be bloated. And I love. There's a time and a place
Sure.
for Beto's, right?
Sure.
And whatever.
Mhm.
But this, you're pay a little bit more because you're at a restaurant. I don't feel greasy or bloated or any of those.
And
things.
I mean, I
sometimes
don't
the
feel more
chimichanga-
greasy or bloated.
Yeah, I just feel like what I brought in.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
what I
more.
have. Yeah.
It's not more.
I already
than
brought
what
it
I
in
brought
with
in.
me.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Well, the thing, this is not going to be Rancheritos or Beto's. It's better. It's
Mhm.
higher quality for sure.
Mhm.
And also, it's not going to be
It's-
Cafe Rio because
it's
it's like
pretty
legitimate
authentic.
Mexican food.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, check it out. Maria's, come in, give it some good reviews, give it some love.
54 South in Redwood.
Yep. Like
So-
if
They're
you know
local-
where the furniture
locally
warehouse
owned
used to
and
be,
managed.
Right. Yes.
that's where it is.
You got to
Yep.
support local businesses.
Totally.
Yeah. And you can order, if you want to do takeout, if you're not going out to eat, fine.
They even have a student menu
They do have a
with
suit.
chicken nuggets.
What?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, served with rice.
I don't
and
know if
beans,
that's
french
like a
fries, and
highlight,
kids' soft
though.
drink.
Well, that's in case like you want to come, but your kids are
Yeah.
jerks.
Yeah. I thought it was because they're across the street from Taylorsville High School. But it
I mean,
might
that's
be.
probably the same.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's my
Probably.
stomping grounds. We were just
That's right. I
away
forgot
from my
you went to
stomping
Taylorville
grounds.
High.
me and John Smith and a bunch
right.
of other radio wannabes all went there.
I know a couple weeks ago there was a picture circulating around from the AV club, the television club, whatever.
So
And it was the most 90s thing I've seen in a long time. And I loved every
Um,
minute of it.
this is where I get my nerd card. Is in high school, I was on the debate team, captain at one point. I was also in the I lettered in audio-visual debate, and I helped start the television program at Taylorsville. It was the
The
first year when I
legacy
was there.
started with you.
I'm a nerd.
You were a grandfather in all this in.
Yeah.
And
You were the foundation.
this picture, though, I mean, just
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh,
not
I
just
saw
in
the
the
picture.
fashion
It
and
was
the
Velvet.
style,
It was so awesome.
but they even were holding someone up across.
That was my teacher.
Yeah, of course it was
Yeah.
the teacher, because it looked like
That
it
was the
was
time.
ready to be the picture for a new sitcom coming out in the 90s. It was going to be on TGIF. That's what it looked like. It was so wholesome and pure and 90s and wonderful. I loved every minute of it.
I got drunk for the first time 3 days before that picture was taken.
Well, that makes it less wholesome, but I still love it. Still wholesome. It's still
It was
wholesome.
also the last time in a really long time.
You know, I get it. You try it out as a kid, and then you realize
You're like,
it's probably
My
not.
boyfriend was 2 years older than me and graduated,
Mm.
and I'm like, I can do this. And then I did it on a school night, stupid. And instead of like grounding me, my mom made me go to school the next day.
There you
I
go.
still smelled like liquor. I was hungover. My teacher, who was in that picture, said, "You smell like liquor and you're hungover. You need to leave."
Oh wow!
And yeah, so I was
Like
shamed.
mom won't let me.
And I never did that again while I was a teenager.
There you go. We're digging deep today.
Yeah, there's a lot of PSAs. A lot of PSAs today. We've turned it into an after-school special from the 90s at this point.
PSA: once you start Zathura, you have to finish Zathura.
Yeah, which means we've got to finish our conversation about Zathura.
Once you start
movie-
playing this game, you got to get all the way to the end.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is why it is basically Jumanji in
Mhm,
space. They start a game, they have to finish it. That's the only way
Right.
out of the situation that they're in.
Right.
Yeah. And I love it so much. I love that they're in space. I love all these different characters. I love that there's a spaceman, the astronaut guy,
Mhm.
who is played by Dax Shepard, who I think is just a fun guy. He has a great podcast, by the way. I would love for our podcasts to get together and do
Hang
a
out.
podcast and hang out.
Yeah.
Plus,
I'd love to do his
I'm
and
a big fan of
collaborate.
his wife.
I'd love to do the Friendship Onion with Dom and Billy Piper.
Yep.
Not Billy Piper, Billy Boy. Oh my gosh.
I don't know who Billy Piper is.
She's in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Played Rose Tyler. Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely not Billy Boyd.
No,
That's
very
who
different.
she is
there.
not.
Yep, very
And
different.
I know that. But I'd love to have them on the show for sure.
But yeah, no, I just love that there's all these different characters that when you're a kid, it's like, I want to be an astronaut. And
Yeah.
here's your astronaut. I
Mhm.
want to do, see aliens or have a robot. Like here, they're
Mhm.
all there and it's so much fun. And it's not cheesy. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not
absolutely.
saying that cheesy kids movies aren't good, but I'm just saying like this one, it feels more, I don't know, robust.
It feels
Is that
crafted.
yeah,
It doesn't feel like you're not talking down to the kids.
exactly.
You're not just like, the kids will like
and
it.
so
just throw it
parents
out there.
watching it with your kids, you're not going to hate yourself while you're
Yeah.
doing it. Like, oh my gosh, like when is this over?
Yeah.
You're enjoying yourself.
It's
Yeah.
like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's not overly
It's a
long.
short film.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
mean,
want to
it's
spend
definitely-
time with other people's kids longer than an hour and 40 minutes.
There are days when I don't even want to spend that long with my kids.
we're digging deep on him too.
Yeah, an hour and 40 minutes, you can definitely commit that kind of time to it. And but it's still longer than the book that it's based on.
Yeah.
Because it's a picture book.
hmm
It's very short.
So I could read that book.
You could totally read that
Oh,
book.
come on. You can read any book you want.
Unless it's banned.
I'm
Well-
an audiobook person.
I think you should especially read the banned books.
I totally agree.
So
And I love the fact that Mouse is like the #1 bestseller right now. I think that's fantastic.
when I read and heard about that in Tennessee, get your stuff
Tennessee.
together.
Every once in a while, some other state does something.
Tennessee?
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, thank heavens it wasn't us.
Yeah, between Tennessee and Indiana, they're
Florida.
taking all the stupid with them. lately.
Tennessee, Florida, Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Florida's always in the top 3.
yeah,
Always.
when I heard about that happening in Tennessee, I went and grabbed that book because I had Mouse and Mouse 2, and I gave it to my daughter who loves reading graphic novels. And I'm like, here's a graphic novel for you to enjoy. So, because that was my feeling on it. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely, everybody needs to experience this. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable, good.
If it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable,
Was it you that posted something like if your history doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, it's propaganda?
I don't know
Is
that I
that
word.
you,
I
or is
don't.
that-
I didn't use the word propaganda.
Somebody posted and it was like if you're learning about history and it doesn't make you uncomfortable,
Yeah.
then it's propaganda. I was like,
Yeah.
there's some
Yeah.
some truth to that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but I can, if going back to Zathura, the other thing that I really think is really fun though is I always thought that the robot, when he starts off very small,
Mhm.
I always thought that was remote controlled, and it's not. They had guys underneath the floor with sticks.
What?
They
That's
were
awesome.
making a robot with sticks underneath the stage
How do
floor.
you get that job?
Right? I'm like, I'm this robotic stick walker.
Probably the best boy helping out under the stage.
But it's kind of cool because they built they built the set on a gimbal so that they could like kind of tilt it and
Yeah.
get some of those weird angles, especially when the harpoons come flying in and tear the door away and stuff like that. So it was all built up so you could do that, so you could get underneath the floor and
Yeah.
make the little robot walk.
And it creates such a great moment in the film
Mhm.
because it is just like coming around the corner
Your
and
robot's
you're
defective.
like, oh no, it's gonna be this
The
guy
shadow is
robot, and
looming.
then it's just this little tiny one, and they're both like, okay, what's he gonna do? I'm gonna pick him up and throw him. Like I'm not even worried about it. And then while they're talking about it, it gets bigger and bigger, and it's a
Which I
fun
think they
moment.
stole from The Wiz and those robots, but these were done way better.
Which is fine because I don't think
I've
anybody's
only
seen The Wiz.
I was going to say, I
Listen,
think I've
used to
seen
watch
it once.
The Wiz a lot, and I know Jon Favreau has seen The Wiz.
Well, I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, he took something and he made it better.
Well, which happens all the time in
Well,
art.
he's been doing
And if
that
you're-
with Star Wars. Oh,
Listen,
You can send hate mail to any
no,
of
I think
us.
I
most
love-
people would agree that
Any
Favreau's
of
doing a
us.
good job
Yeah.
with Star Wars.
I love that we come at Tracy, and I made I don't know how many comments about Star Wars in the last episode. Tracy makes one, and we're like, send the hate mail. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
what your shirt is. Send,
Send
the hate mail.
too. You know what? I can take it. I can take
Maybe
the hate
that's a
mail.
podcast.
It's okay.
Send the hate
All right.
mail, and it's just all of them.
Yes, that's actually not a bad idea.
I'm buying,
LLC.
I'm LLCing that right now as well.
I feel bad that we're not talking about the movie because I don't think it's because we didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It
love
was a
this
lot of
movie.
fun. And it was
I
the
just
same thing
think-
with Karate Kid. We're just
This
in a
is the
weird
thing
mood.
about a
They're
movie
back
like
together.
Zathura.
Yeah.
This is the thing about a movie like Zathura, and we never know until we start talking about it, is that some movies are good movies, but there's not a lot to say about them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're just, hey, have you seen this movie? Because I really enjoyed it.
Right.
And that's almost all you need to say about
Right.
some movies. And we
Mhm.
don't know until we say, hey, we really like this movie. We should talk about it. And then we get into the episode and we're like, well, we've covered everything in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It just means that it was just made well. It's a good
Mhm.
movie, but there's
Mhm.
nothing super flashy about Zathura.
Right.
Right.
But there also isn't anything like I think it gets forgotten about a lot because it is just a well-made movie.
Uh-huh.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not a
This
Jumanji.
is the kind of
it's-
movie
it's-
that all the parents say, we need to make family films like this. And then they don't support them.
yeah.
You know?
or yeah. And I think the other thing, it's one of those movies that the year that it came out, it probably did okay.
I
don't
I
think
think
it-
it was okay at the box office.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a huge blockbuster, but I think it probably did okay.
Yeah.
But then you don't really remember it because
Mhm.
it doesn't
Yeah.
stand out with
It
the other
didn't-
movies
it
that came
didn't
out from that time.
go into the public consciousness.
It doesn't become the iconic film. Like
Right.
Jumanji went into that
Mhm.
consciousness, and
Well, I mean, but
And
I think
that's-
it's because Robin
Robin
Williams
Williams.
really
Right.
helped that.
right. And Dax Shepard just doesn't have that kind of
Well, and
following,
it-
unfortunately.
The thing is, Zathura didn't come out before Jumanji because it may have been different. We
Well-
hadn't seen a movie like Jumanji before.
Right. Right.
And also Jon Favreau wasn't the Jon Favreau we know now. People
Mhm.
didn't really know who he
People
was.
didn't know who Favreau
Right.
was.
So I
Yeah.
think if Jon
Mhm.
Favreau made that movie now and made it exactly the same way that he did, it would have gotten a bit
way
bigger,
more
way more play.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it would have
I
ended
absolutely agree with that.
with a random Star Wars bounty hunter showing
But
up
what
that
I
everybody's
love-
excited about.
And that would be fine. What I love about it is that no matter who's in the room with you, you can watch it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, like it's not an overtly child family
no
film.
uh-uh.
But also, no matter who walks in the room, you're not going to be like, oh, there might be a moment. Because there are a lot of family
Mhm.
films that, depending on what kind of family it is, there are moments that aren't appropriate.
Yeah, and I feel pretty confident that even the most straight-laced individual
Mhm.
might still feel
I don't
fine
think
with
there's
this
anything
movie.
in here that somebody could find
Yeah.
objectionable unless you don't like well-made films.
Some people
know,
don't.
Some
So-
yeah,
People
that's
like
true.
Sharknado.
Yeah. I mean,
I
even
like the experience of watching it with other people who are in the same mood to
Tracy, I
enjoy
know.
that film.
I know this. I know this. I just had to say it because I haven't said it in a while.
You're chumming the water. That's all.
Well, we
I-
had
I
this
love-
discussion yesterday
Yeah.
by ourselves, is because I watched the new movie Moonfall,
okay.
which is
The
kind of a turd
Roland-
of a movie.
Roland Emmerich.
Really, I am shocked to hear
But-
that because everything I saw about it made it look
But
amazing.
this is the thing. So I gave it a C plus, but it's probably my most favorite C plus movie for this year. Even I know the year's not like fully into, but I love Armageddon. I
Mhm.
love Day After Tomorrow. I love. I would love to do just a month of
disaster.
Really
movies.
disaster. I
disaster
love
movies.
disaster action films. And the director, and I just said, because he's not a fan.
I'm not. Yeah.
Our friend, this was what's funny is I went on Good Things Utah
Mhm.
to talk about the movie, and our good friend Tony Toscano, he is the film critic on ABC4.
Mhm.
He went on earlier in the morning and gave it an F. I went on Good Things Utah an hour and a half, 2 hours later, and I gave it a C plus.
And I texted her and said, "You were nicer to it than I would have been, and I haven't seen the movie yet."
And I
Yeah.
said, "This is my Sharknado.
Sharknado.
This director is my Sharknado."
Yeah. And I can appreciate all that. I just love how well rehearsed Tracy's like defense.
Yeah,
Defense
because
of
he's had to do
Sharknado.
it
I've had
so
time.
much.
Yeah,
He's done
Experience
it
and
over and,
time.
over.
Yeah. yeah,
Repetition.
yeah. It may say that over and over and over again. I like the experience of watching it. All right, that's
With
what I
the
like.
crowd of people who are all in the same mood to make fun of and enjoy this silly.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
all.
Yeah, Moonfall, I think, is going to be exactly what I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's
As-
going to be a little, yeah, it should be.
I gotta
yeah.
say,
Yeah.
I think I'd enjoy Zathura more than watching Moonfall.
Well,
Both
you-
set in
But-
space.
Yeah.
But I do love Armageddon, and maybe that's just the time that it
And-
hit
So
for me.
this is
Except for
this
the
is
animal
how I
cracker
described
scene.
it. If
Take
you
that out.
take Contact, Armageddon, Deep Impact, 2021, and Day After Tomorrow, and you put them in a fruit roll up, and fruit roll up, cover it with cheese. That's what you have. So
Fruit
it's
roll-up
not as
covered
good
with
as
cheese?
any of the movies that I said, but it has
Yeah.
elements from every single one of those movies. Plus, it has Halle Berry. I would watch Halle Berry paint a fence. I don't care. She's good at everything. I love Halle Berry. I know you're going to say Catwoman. She's the only good thing about that movie.
Okay.
If it would have been a different person as Catwoman in that pile of poo, then the movie would have been worse. But because it was Halle Berry, it brought it up one less steaming pile.
So earlier in this episode, I said that I would always get something smothered in cheese if it's an option. I am taking that statement back
Not a
now
fruit roll up.
because I think Val has found something that I would not smother
Maybe
in
Maria's
cheese if
will
it
put
was.
that on the menu.
No, I
So,
don't.
call it the
so
Val
this is the thing.
special.
It's a C
They only
plus
have
movie.
good food here, Tracy. Why
It's
would
a
we
C
encourage
plus
them to
movie.
do something
You
awful?
should not go see it at the theater. It's something that you watch at home. You've got your popcorn. It's brain candy.
Yeah,
And there are moments of it that are super fun. And there are moments of it that you're like, that science is not science at all.
That seems questionable.
And but that is that kind of movie, right? Right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but it's almost good because it's not good.
Okay.
It's one of those.
And as long as it doesn't take itself too seriously, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
and I
it doesn't at all.
And I don't mind a movie being bad. I don't. And it is enjoyable sometimes to watch those movies. So I'm on board.
I've
with that.
seen some really bad movies, like horrible movies this past year. This was not the worst movie I've
We
seen.
should do a group screening and like invite fans, and we should watch like one of the
Moonfall.
Sharknadoes.
Oh, we're back to Sharknado now.
Well, I'm just saying that's because that's how you
Okay.
need to watch it.
Okay.
If we were to do an episode of it, and you guys just watched it on your own,
Maybe
you'd
we
be
could
like,
get Broovies
I-
to
This
do
is-
this.
I
awful.
tried to watch the first Sharknado on my own,
yeah. See, that's the
and
problem.
it did not go well.
You have to be with a group
Yeah.
of people
Okay.
who are all like
All right,
in
if
the
you
right
are
mood.
in
We
to
can get
being a
you
part
some
of-
drinks.
of Sharknado, of our Sharknado experience,
Well, that means we'd have to
we're
do it
gonna
at
pick.
Broovies.
Yeah.
We're gonna pick 25 people to
Or
be a
Val's
part of this
house.
experience. I will make it happen. I will call our good friends at Larry H. Miller Megaplex and see if we can get one of their smaller rooms, not a screening room,
Yeah.
like their smaller room.
That would be.
And maybe we can have.
It's just
we
so
can do that.
stupid, but it,
Yeah.
And then right after, we can do a live podcast,
there you go.
and I'll
And-
be half drunk.
And Tracy,
Just kidding.
You think she's fun?
I think you
sober?
guys think I
Just
drink a
wait.
lot. I
You
really
don't.
don't.
You don't.
I try this the day that I got let go. I got fired recently. Actually, I can't even say that. They didn't renew my contract.
Boo.
So I basically got fired
I mean, even if it
Um,
was mid-contract, it
I-
wasn't. I have no idea.
at like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have a glass of wine, and I'm
Mhm.
just gonna feel this, right? So I have my glass of wine. I took a picture of it. It's like all the way to the top, right? Usually wine like that much.
Right.
I sent a picture to Dave. I said, I'm probably gonna be drunk by the time you get home. That glass of wine lasted me 2 days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you were sipping it.
Yeah.
yeah, we're sipping
Yeah.
it when we
I-
recorded the other day.
I'm not a partier people.
Yeah.
I pretend hard,
Those high school
but I
days
don't
are
party
done.
hard. That was one time. I was not a partier in high school
Yeah.
either. I was so afraid of my mom. Like that was one time, and the disappointment in her face,
Mm.
never again.
Yeah, it was probably like similar to the disappointment that the astronaut had on his face when he thought that Walter had wished Danny away.
Don't say it, Tracy.
Can
Leave
we
it
just
alone.
take a moment and just
Don't
just
say
take
it.
a moment?
Just leave it
Just-
alone.
So at what point, and I know it's hard to like think back to the first time you saw the movie, but watching it this time, because it'd been a long time since I had
Yeah.
seen it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
me too.
And
What year
So
did
I
this
didn't-
come out?
like 2006, I think. I'm guessing, but so I didn't remember who the astronaut was.
Mhm.
But the minute like he pulls out,
2005. Nicely done.
I was close. But when he pulls out the card and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a Fleet Admiral too. It's just a card." Like I was like, I think he's one of the kids. And
That's what I
think-
thought at first
he
too.
must be-
Mhm.
And at that point, I was like, he must be Walter because that's who
Grew
had
up
the
and
card.
became the astronaut.
Um,
yeah.
I mean, about don't do what I think you just did, and then he
Mhm.
thinks Danny's gone, and he's not because the kid did the only thing that the kid would do at that point. If it's not to wish your brother away, it's I want an autographed football from Brett Favre. So
Is he related to Jon Favreau?
no, that's Favreau.
Isn't it Brett
different.
Favre?
It is Brett Favre. Have you seen something about Mary?
I mean, I try not to.
Okay,
I have, I try not to
Yeah.
remember
He
much
keep-
of any
Ben
of it.
Stiller.
Yeah,
Ben Stiller,
yeah,
yeah.
it's Ben
Yeah.
Stiller and
Yeah.
Cameron Diaz. I understand.
No, but he
But I
keeps
try
calling him
not-
Brett Favre.
Yeah,
Favre.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
I only know a few quotes from that movie, and none of them can be repeated on this show. So
Anyway, but when he comes in with the autograph football, like that is such a classic. Like that's the other thing that
10-year-old.
dates it,
Mhm.
probably early 2000s, because
Yes.
Brett Favre was
Yep.
huge at
Yep.
that point. So, but yeah, I love that.
But I'd like to think that this type of film is what gave Jon Favreau the ability to create what he now. Like we already knew he was a good storyteller, but this was him doing practical effects and special effects and green screen, and then he helped introduce the new technology in the Mandalorian where they have the dome and the projections and stuff. And I like to think that this was, maybe it's not his most widely known film, but it's crucial for his evolution as a filmmaker.
I agree, and I think you partner it with like Elf 2, which
Mhm.
not Elf 2, but Elf as well,
Right.
where there were a lot of practical effects in that. People don't
Mhm.
think about it because it's
Mhm.
not a film that's taking place in space and huge special effects, but there are a lot of practical
All in
effects
camera.
in there
Mhm.
to show the different sizes and things like that. And I think that those are both two crucial films that helped launch him into Iron Man and then
Mhm.
Iron Man 2 and into the MCU and then Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
And then one of our favorites, Chef.
yeah,
I mean,
I watch that once a week.
I've been jonesing
Usually
to get
while I'm
back
cooking.
to watch it again.
the only special effect in that though is the effect it
The
has on my
food.
heart.
Wah, wah, wah.
Gross.
It makes my stomach hungry.
Yeah, I watch it while I cook now. Like I don't watch it if I'm not cooking because
Yeah.
it's dangerous.
I like to watch shows like that when I'm cooking, or like cooking shows when I'm cooking,
Mhm.
and think that like the macaroni and cheese that I'm making for my kids is really like this delicious dish that they're making on the
bechamel
show.
sauce
Yes.
with al dente noodles.
Yes.
I like my noodles. al
And then the
dente.
disappointment is real when I have the mac and cheese that I just made for my kids. We eat it together.
See, and whenever I make it, like if I'm trying to make something and it doesn't quite turn out how I wanted, then it's deconstructed.
That's
it's a
what I say when it
deconstructed
lands on the
version.
floor.
Yeah, it's a deconstructed version.
I just take the loaf of bread and then set it next to the jar of peanut butter, and then next to the jar, and that's unconstructed peanut butter and jelly.
There you go.
It's a new thing.
There
It's
you
And
really
then you get
popular.
one of the kids to construct it for you.
No,
Oh.
that's just a mess. That's bad parenting right there.
Or really smart parenting.
Yeah, make them learn how to do it now.
Give a man a fish, he eats for a day.
Teach a man to make a
fish.
peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He doesn't
You're
have to
all
go
gonna-
fishing.
You all can eat peanut butter jelly sandwiches all the time.
Yeah, that would imply that. I was going to say I would imply my kids would do stuff for other people, and they do. So I don't want to make it sound like they're awful
Wow.
people. Sometimes it's not worth the joke to make those kind of implications, so I won't.
Kids are kids. We love them, but they're also sometimes jerks. But guess what? We're their parents. Where do you think they learn how to be a jerk?
Yeah, there's a great new song by Frank Turner, and Jake and I are fans of. It's called The Resurrectionists, and the chorus is, "We're all just kids someone let loose in the world, waiting to figure out all the rules." It's like,
Yeah, we haven't
And
yet.
then we just say, sorry, I accidentally forgot.
now it's
I
now
accidentally
it's your
forgot.
turn.
I accidentally forgot the rule.
Then
Brought
pass
that
it
right
on to the
back
kids,
around.
and you're like, and now it's your turn. Good luck.
So I agree with you, Tracy, that Zathura, I think, is one of those films that even though it wasn't a huge iconic hit like an Iron Man, I do think it's important in the progression of Jon Favreau.
Well, and I think people respect it.
Yeah,
I think other filmmakers respect it, and I think families, we like it.
Yeah.
We just are like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Let's watch it. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm. Or I've heard about it, but I never got around to it. Yeah.
yeah, we were watching it. My wife and I together last night after the kids were in bed, and we decided we're getting some new couches and a new TV stand. So, like for our first movie night, we're gonna watch the film
cool.
as a family. So
Very cool.
we'll see how the kids like
You
it.
can tell the kids all about the practical effects. Little robots under
Say
the
there's
my 15-year-old will find that fascinating because he loves film and filmmaking, so he'll think that's interesting. My 5-year-old will be like, "Oh, okay,"
Huh?
and then
All right,
he'll
Dad.
just move on.
Or it'd be like, you ruined the magic.
That's
no,
true.
he wouldn't say that. He's too nice. He's a nice kid. He's already mastered the compliment sandwich, where you give a compliment, then the negative feedback, and then give a compliment.
Oh,
He
that's a
does
good
that all the
thing.
time. I don't know where he learned it.
I really love you.
Your hair looks nice on your really big head.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like he'll start out with, Mom, you're a really good mom. I know you didn't get me the soda that I wanted from the store, but that's okay because I still really love you because you're really great.
Wow, that kid's going places.
And so then we go and buy a soda for him because we feel like jerks.
And he's like,
He is playing you.
Like a fiddle.
He is playing
Like
you.
a fiddle.
So are we going to rate this movie?
let's do it.
We should. Tracy, start with you. With your practical effects. Miniature
I'm a
robot.
sucker for the practical effects. Like Val said, we get Frank Oz he voices the robot. I am a huge Jon Favreau fan. It holds up really well, but it didn't, like, maybe I just wasn't in the right mood last night. So I'm going to go like a B+ area. Just there's
still
not
really
a lot
good
of
grade.
it's still really good, and it's a really good
I
film.
think it's funny
Going
when you're
into it,
like,
I thought I was going to be
can't,
like
but
A-.
it's a B+.
Yeah, I know. I was
Going
like,
into
I
it,
was
I was
expecting like a C+
No,
or
I
I thought
something.
you
The
were
way
going
he was
like B-
building it
or
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
C+ or something.
No, I went into it thinking I was going to give it an A-, but I'm going to go a B+ just because there's not a ton of story, and part of that's because it's based on a kid's picture book, but very enjoyable, especially with kids. There's nothing in there that you could really get upset about. So yeah, I'm going to go B+.
Well,
I mean, I'm in between a B and a B+.
Okay.
I think it was really enjoyable. I liked it. I am fans of all the things that Tracy said. But again, it is not one of those movies that it's not my chef.
Right.
It's not my, like I'm not going to, but I do respect the movie. I do think people should see the movie. And I definitely think like once every couple of years,
It's worth
I'm
throwing
gonna
on.
check. Like when I say that the name of that movie to my daughter, we have memories about it, which so it's got that, me and my kid memories because of when it came out. I think we all have those movies. My daughter was really young at that point and I was just barely working for Radio Disney. And I think this is when we got to go see like one of the first
cool.
ones together in the theater.
Nice.
cool.
And so, yeah, it has memories. Good. I think the story is fun, but yeah, B+.
awesome.
So
And he's
All
back.
right, we're back with the
He's
sound and
back.
everything. Hopefully this goes well.
Just
from
really
here
quick
on out.
before your grade, have you seen the Ben Affleck radio DJ SNL skit?
No.
Do yourself a favor and check that one out. He's the morning radio DJ, and
Oh,
it's
boy.
really funny.
Oh,
Because
boy.
they're always like, and we're back.
Oh, the vomit voice.
It's the
Colin.
DJ in the morning.
Yeah.
So
That's not what we all sound like. by the
no,
way.
but it's
No.
Some do. You know
Yeah.
who you are.
There are definitely some that you. Anyway, I'm going to give this a B. I think it's a
Okay.
solid movie. I think it's really good. I agree that there's not a lot of story there, but I do feel like the story gets you to where it
it
wants
does,
to
but
get
it doesn't
you.
feel long.
Right. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel long, and it hits the parts that it wants to hit, and it. So I like it. I do like the practical effects. I think Jon Favreau is a great storyteller, and I think if you're enjoying things like the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian and things like that, you'll enjoy this too because you can tell that it's a Jon
If you're a big
Favreau
fan
story.
of Twilight, this
If you're,
is a
big,
young
if you're a big
Kristen
fan
Stewart.
if you're a big fan of Twilight, then you can watch this and see a quality story play out on screen and maybe rethink some things.
And I definitely think if you haven't watched our episode about Chef yet, you
Oh,
should
yes.
go back. Watch
Yeah.
the movie if you haven't seen it. It's streaming.
It's
but
on
definitely,
Netflix, isn't it?
I own it,
I
so
think
I
so.
don't know. I
Okay.
don't go there, but
I think it's on Netflix.
But definitely check out our episode about Chef because
Highly
it is the
rated
one
movie.
time, one of the times that we all agreed on the grade.
Yeah.
So
A's
that's
across
fun.
the board.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And that's what made us fans of Favreau, which I don't know if that's gonna be a podcast or maybe just our
Oh,
like,
I put it down.
or like our fan club that people could join, fans of Favreau.
I think
would work.
it should be both.
Okay, we
Yeah,
can do both.
why limit ourselves?
Well, because there's only so many hours in a day, and okay, we're not limiting ourselves at all. We're limitless.
That's what high school interns are for.
Okay.
Apparently we have high school interns now.
I don't know what's happening. We're buying
If
LLCs.
we're going to grow this the way we need
got-
to grow this, we need some
We've
unpaid
got high school
high school
interns. Yeah. If you're hungry and
What
you're
was that
looking,
look for?
I don't know.
if you're hungry and
Just
you're
my
looking for
face.
some great food, come to Maria's Mexican
Yes.
food in
Yes.
Taylorsville. It is delicious. It's amazing.
It's in the same parking lot as the Planet Fitness.
Yep.
Yes.
It's on the north side of 50.
Can I say that it's catty corner from Leatherby's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Catty corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's such a silly
and
word,
like-
but I like to
And
say
like
it.
next door to Five Guys. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
so like when you don't want the burger and fries, just which come here. It's a better choice.
And this is so much better. Like you said, there's always a Beo's craving and stuff. But if you want like a higher quality,
Yeah, this
food?
is place.
this
to
is
come.
really, really good food.
It is,
And I
and
think the pricing is good.
the prices are
I'm
great,
fine with the
and
pricing.
the people are
Yeah.
amazing. They've
They-
been great.
They've been
Locally
really
owned, your
nice.
money's going to stay right here in the T-ville.
So come here, give it a good review on Yelp, get their
Mhm.
stars up there, and enjoy the food. And if you have any feedback for us, you can follow us in all the places. Give it to us there: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at moviesthatmakeus or podcast@moviesthatmakeus.com. It's probably better to just reach out to us on social media though, because we're
Yeah.
just more accessible there.
Yeah.
And we would love to hear from you. And thank you so much.
Tease next week.
Oh, next week.
This is the big one.
Next week's going to be another time like this where we're only going to talk about the movie for like 15 minutes because there's not a lot to say.
I think we're going to go over time.
I was going to say this might turn
We're going
into
to have the amazing
we're gonna
Larry
need-
Curtis.
we're
we're
going to
gonna
need
have
the
Larry
director's
Curtis.
extended cut
Yeah.
for this episode.
Like the extended cut of Lord of the Rings. This is going to be about a 4-hour episode.
would
This is
surprise
the
me.
thing. I'm sure everyone has been to a Lord of the Rings panel or you've listened to a Lord of the Rings episode of something. Larry was on set in New Zealand
Mhm.
while these movies were being filmed. He knows the cast.
Mhm.
He knows the people from Weta. Like he has
Mhm.
inside information that not a lot of people have, and it's so much fun.
my
listening to
claim
him
to
talk.
fame is I let Larry borrow my camera for that trip. So all the photographs that he took of the beautiful sets and all that.
Yeah.
My camera.
Larry's amazing. I could listen to Larry talk about
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
If you don't know Larry,
Humble
check out
guy.
our Rush episode he
Yep.
was on when
Yeah.
we did Beyond the Lighted Stage.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
the Rush documentary. He was on that, and he's just awesome. So we're excited to have him. He is a Lord of the Rings expert,
Yes.
100%.
He's the local Stephen Colbert.
That's a lot of praise right there, and
Yeah.
I'm not even
He
mad
used to
about
write
it.
for
I don't disagree.
OneRing.net.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like he's done so many things.
and he used to write with them when they were good.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like when it was a big thing.
All right, we are excited about that. We're grateful that Larry's going to join
We're
us for
covering
that.
3 movies, 3 gigantic movies in
Well,
one.
and these are movies that I
episode.
think all of us love and
Yes.
are excited to talk
The
about.
one book that I read
Yeah,
all through elementary school, Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. Those
in
two books
elementary
that-
school, you
yeah.
were in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Wow. I
They had to
did
tell
Lord
me
of
I
the
checked
Rings
it
like
out too many times in a row that I had to let other kids check it out. And then a couple weeks later, nobody else's name was on the little checkout slip. And the lady's like, fine.
See, I did The Hobbit a lot
I
in
did The
elementary,
Hobbit.
but I had trouble getting into Lord of the Rings until I was older.
Well, that's the lady at the library said, okay, you've checked out The Hobbit a lot. So
You
maybe
should
you
check
should
this
try
out."
Lord of the Rings. So my 6th grade
Gotcha.
year, Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm super excited to talk about this movie.
Yeah.
It's
You're not a fan at all.
I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. I'm not even gonna like pretend that I'm not. For,
Are
like,
we going to try and be in person for that one?
I think we should.
I think we should try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see if we can
Maybe
work
we'll
it
come
out.
back to Maria's.
Maybe. Or maybe we'll try something else.
We could do
Yeah.
that
If
as
you
well.
guys want us to try a place of yours, let
We
us
are
know.
down to try out new food.
Yes.
We're all foodies.
Well, yeah. Absolutely. Too
yes,
much.
we're
So,
going to have a food podcast coming up.
Ooh, write that down.
I already did.
Okay.
but thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for joining us. And until next time, we will not see you at the movies.
Zathura.
This has been a Stolen Droids
We can't
media
get our-
production.
Our end credits to play here. Oh well, we're just gonna end the.
This has been a Stolen Droids media production.